Hi everyone, good evening. And today, 16th of July, marks the second day of CUET, the Common Universities Entrance Test. Close to 77% of the students who registered for slot 1 today gave the examination, and approximately 74% of the students who registered for the second slot, they gave the exam today. So mixed reactions from the students today, unlike the first day. If you talk about today, day two of the examination, it was less chaotic as compared to yesterday. Even students were well informed, well prepared. They checked their admit cards last night, and if there was a change of center, they reached the new venue actually. So I would say overall, the today in terms of technical issues remains actually. Unfortunately, students have been facing technical issue in the examination, and with me, I have my colleague Abhishek Bhatia, who also gave the exam today. So we'll be talking to Abhishek as to what happened in the examination today. In fact, he also faced technical issues in the examination today. So we'll discuss all that. But I think overall, compared to the first day, if you talk about yesterday, this was much better actually in that sense. And exam was as far as exam is concerned, there is no error being reported from the students about the paper itself. So the questions, there are no errors. So it's the error is only about the problem is only about the technical issues which students at most locations are facing. I think NTA would be definitely looking into that. But I think the earlier it gets resolved, it's better for them actually, because it's about the careers of the students. I think they will be definitely looking into that aspect. Welcome, Abhishek. Good to have you on this platform today. You gave the examination after a long time. Actually, I think for last so many years, it has been studies, but finally you went to an exam hall, gave the exam along with class 12 students. So what was your experience today all like?
So if I talk about overall experience, I think I was having a morning slot, and I think we all encountered a technical glitch because it was from a server itself. Uh, so my paper started 1 hour late, and then we faced glitches in between. So it took around 4 hours, after the start to complete two domain subject along with the GT and English. So I was having GT, English language, business studies, and economics. And from a paper point of view, I would say GT and English was much easier, than anticipated through NTA sample paper, where I found quant section were a bit lengthy. है ना? Then, if I talk about domain subjects, difficulty is very subjective in nature, but NTA tried to make it practical, in my opinion, and it was more real life based rather than just theoretical and bookish. And we were having a real life situational passages in economics, rather than theories. So it was
Okay.
more on the practical.
So I think the issues remain. Yesterday we spoke about a lot of candidates gave this feedback that they faced technical issues. You personally faced it today. CL mentor Deepak yesterday faced the similar issue. But I think the best part still, I would say, given the problem is there, the best part is that NTA is giving time to the students for, they are being compensated for whatever loss in terms of time. But I think more than time, it is about the exam itself. I think they should take care of this. That is what I would say. Now, obviously, the students have been given the opportunity to pick up the order of these sections. They can pick any of the section first and continue with that paper actually. So that was the case today as well. Let's talk about the subjects. I think students are more interested to know about each of the subjects, what's happened today. A general feedback which I have received today is, as compared to the yesterday, the candidates today felt some of the subjects were slightly tougher, not very high in difficulty, but slightly moderate in terms of what the feedback they received from their peers yesterday or from the various mentors who appeared for the examination. So let's look at each of the areas. In fact, I would like to start with English, because you gave the English in the first slot. The English was also conducted in the second slot, but most students had taken it in the first slot. So how was the overall structure of the English paper? What all came in the paper? Passages? Did you find it difficult or easy?
I received some feedback from yesterday exam, but In my opinion, English was easy to moderate. There were three passages with six questions each, which was very, very straightforward. Like you can easily pick the option and mark it. And there were antonym synonym questions. They were in good numbers. I would say easily 5 to 10 questions were there, and they were very, very easy to approach. Like one question was asking the synonym of chance. It was opportunity, and then one was asking the synonym of console. So it was mostly from 6th 7th class vocabulary, and around 5 questions of tone, and 5 para jumbles were there, which was very easy to approach and easy to moderate level. And there were 4 questions from sentence rearrangement, and 5 to 10 I already discussed. There were synonyms and antonym. Yeah, one question from idiom and phrases was also there, and three passages of 6 question each. So 18 questions were from reading comprehension, which was very easy to approach.
Okay, so more or less. So more or less, I think it was very much on the expected lines, actually, English, if we talk about. Even in the second slot, we had 3 passages today, actually. So the students who gave the examination, I was speaking to them just right now. So almost similar composition on both the days, actually. Yesterday also, both the slots had almost 3 to 4 passages. Today, it was all about 3 passages in both the slots. But few students definitely mentioned about in the first slot that some of the options were really close, actually, when it came to the reading comprehension passage based question. Was that the case?
I was doing it with neglecting the options, so I found it little bit easy. Like if I get stuck between two options, then I can easily say, yeah, this is the answer. So
Okay.
getting the options may be the good approach to solve that reading comprehension, because in some of the options, like two options, you can easily say this is not an answer. So in between two options, yeah, you can face some issue in choosing.
Yeah. So strategy is very, very important actually in how you approach the paper. Just for the benefit of the students, and because this happened yesterday as well. While the instructions mentioned, this is all to all the audience, while the instruction is clearly mentioning that you are supposed to attend 40 questions as far as the language section and the domain sections are concerned. There are a total of 50 questions in each of the domain subjects and language section. But please remember, the system will not allow you to go beyond 40. So if you start attempting from the first question and you have attempted all the first 40, you want to attempt the 41st question, you'll have to clear one of the answers from the previous 40 questions actually. So system by default is not allowing you to move beyond 40 actually. So mark for review, you have to be really, really careful. And for all the candidates who will be taking the examination in the coming days, please remember, if you have marked an answer for review and if you do not make any changes, that will be considered for evaluation. So you have to be extra cautious over there. If you have any element of doubt, better mark it or write the question on the rough sheet, the question number on the rough sheet. Better come back at a later stage and look at that. Before I talk about the domain subjects, because domain would be specific to each of the students, but there are two areas. English and GT is something which is common to almost 80 to 90% of the students. Most students, in fact 75% of the students who have applied for CUET this year, they have definitely taken up general test actually because of the requirement of various universities. Now GD is something which we have been very vocal about, is going to be very, very scoring. How was it today? Easy? Because yesterday it was pretty easy actually. Students found it very easy. Some students were able to complete the paper well within the time limit. How was it today, and your experience being an aptitude mentor as well? I think that would be really great.
So there were I more questions of quants was there than reasoning and GK, and quant was much easier than the NTA sample test which they given, because उसको thoroughly मैंने थोड़ा देखा, but it was a bit lengthy. But वहाँ पर quants की question was very one liner, and it was very, very straightforward. And unlike the test given by NTA, no compound interest, no data comparison questions were there, which I expected. Some of them will be there. But if we prepare thoroughly, I would say it was more observational in nature. You don't need to pick a pen and solve it on a paper. It was more of the observational. So if I thoroughly review it, there were 5 questions of number series, one question of Venn diagram, one from blood relation and reasoning, 3 to 4 questions of alphabetical series, 6 from sitting arrangement, one from calendar. Yes, it's a very straightforward question. They just given a date and they asked what is the day on that date. And then there was one question of cube which was in quant section, I would say, because इतना area, इतना अगर साइड बढ़ा दी तो एरिया का कितना मतलब परसेंटेज इंक्रीज हो जाएगा. That was that question, but we can say it was more of a cube side. And no syllogism was there in the reasoning. Basic number series question was there, and mostly observational. You can easily see and mark it on easily without using pen and paper. Again, GK question was very basic. If a student, I would say in a GK, if a student involves them in daily affairs, like without studying, he or she easily can answer that. Now
So
we can
basically,
found our daily affairs, daily news channel.
basically current affairs is the focus over here, and that's what we have been talking about. And all the students who are going to appear for the exam in the coming days, focus more on current affairs and make it a habit from now onwards that you read newspaper, because in future whatever entrances you'll come across, newspaper is always a helpful thing, actually, I would say. And most of the questions are very basic. Yesterday it was very basic, actually. Today I think all of the students have really enjoyed giving the GK section, actually, especially, and found the overall GT as well. So let's go to the domain subjects. You gave business studies and economics. Mixed reaction today, especially from the second slot. In the second slot, students have found economics a little bit to be on the tougher side. What was your observation in the first slot?
I would say, they have asked everything in economics, everything, but which is more on the practical side. People were preparing the books, NCERT and all these things. But I think, if we see that there were passages which are of recent topics like COVID pandemic, migrant crisis, and India export trade policy after COVID crisis. No one can expect that. Everyone was prepared with the books and all these things. Even there were general knowledge questions in the economic section in domain. So I think, and I found 3-4 questions from a national income chapter. I think it had a good weightage in that. So everything was on a practical side. जैसे कोविड क्राइसिस का जो पैसेजेस थे दो, वो इकोनॉमिक्स के नहीं थे, बहुत दे वर वेरी जनरल क्वेश्चंस. सो उसके बारे में पूछा हुआ था. सो आई थिंक वी प्रिपेयर्ड एवरीथिंग विद द बुक, बट दे हैड समथिंग अदर थिंग प्लान्ड in their bucket.
Okay, so the surprise element was there today, actually, in the paper, actually. But one consistent feedback is that whichever subjects we are talking about, and this is for the audience, one consistent feedback which we have received is they are being very uniform, actually, in the distribution in most of the subjects, if not all. So for the topics, most and in the second slot of economics, for the benefit of all the students, almost 60% of the questions out of 50, 30 questions were from macroeconomics. And I think that was the case from the slot 1 as well. Yesterday also we saw macroeconomics पे बहुत ज़्यादा question आए थे. आज भी macroeconomics को लेकर के, तो macroeconomics थोड़ा अच्छे से prepare कर लो, बहुत ही important है. 40% माइक्रोइकोनॉमिक्स अभी तक आ रहा है. जरूरी नहीं है यही कंसिस्टेंसी मेंटेन करेंगे, बट आई थिंक यू शुड put a little bit of focus on macroeconomics. वहां से क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, न्यूमेरिकल बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस भी आ रहे हैं. 4 to 5 सेकंड स्लॉट में आए हैं न्यूमेरिकल बेस्ड क्वेश्चन, तो वो बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिस कर लो. आई थिंक इकोनॉमिक्स के लिए दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाट अबाउट बीएसटी का कैसा रहा, बिजनेस स्टडीज का पेपर? क्योंकि अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि अभी जितने भी कॉमर्स और ह्यूमैनिटीज वाले स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनका ही एग्जाम चल रहा है. साइंसेस की हम बात कर नहीं सकते हैं क्योंकि साइंसेस वाले वेट कर रहे हैं. दे हैव द पेपर इन द सेकंड फेज, एंड एनीबॉडी हु हैड एनी सब्जेक्ट रिलेटेड टू साइंस वो सेकंड फेज में चले गए हैं अगस्त में. नीट इज देयर टुमारो एंड फॉर दैट रीजन दे हैव डन दैट. सो व्हाट वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस अबाउट द बीएसटी पेपर? कैसा, इजी था, डिफिकल्ट था? आपके सेंटर पे स्टूडेंट्स का फीडबैक क्या था?
Again, what I found in business studies, no question was straightforward. Even the basic nature of principle of management question was asked through real life examples. Not that much straightforward, I will say. It was little bit tough, both business studies and economics. I remember one question from ITC E-Chopal, which is mentioned in chapter 1, in the NCERT corner, and no student don't pay any attention to that corner. And one from a differential wage rate system, I remember, with a live example. We have to solve that and then find the answer. So no straight question from there, no theoretical question. Even the wage rate system they asked in a practical manner. So it was more domain subject was purely on the practical knowledge. No straightforward
Was
question. We
was
expected.
case study part of the paper today?
Sorry.
केस स्टडी दिया था पेपर में बिजनेस स्टडीज के?
Yeah. Little case studies was there.
Smaller ones basically.
आएगा तो क्या कॉन्सेप्ट लगाओगे?
Okay.
These questions are there.
So basically, but फिर भी वही है कि बिजनेस स्टडीज का जो जनरल फीडबैक है, फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, प्रोसेस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं. केस स्टडी ऑलमोस्ट दोनों स्लॉट में था. सो ऑन दी एक्सपेक्टेड लाइन है, बहुत ज्यादा डिफर नहीं कर रहा है. So while Abhishek gave these two papers today, he'll be giving the another one later on. So slot 2 will be on a later date. Abhishek will be coming back once again with me. Let me cover quickly what happened with the other papers actually. So let me talk about, because we are continuing with commerce at this point of time, let me finish commerce. So next paper is definitely accountancy. स्लॉट 1 की अगर अकाउंटेंसी की बात करें तो स्लॉट 1 और स्लॉट 2 दोनों में इश्यूज ऑफ शेयर्स के ऊपर काफी सारे क्वेश्चन आए हैं. 4 से 5 क्वेश्चन आए हैं आज. इसके अलावा अकाउंटिंग रेशियो, प्रॉफिट रेशियो मिलाकर के 7-8 क्वेश्चन आए हैं. प्लस कंप्यूटर अकाउंटिंग के 2-3 क्वेश्चन कंप्यूटर अकाउंटिंग के 2-3 क्वेश्चन थे वहां पे, दोनों पे स्लॉट्स में एक्चुअली अगर बात करें तो. सो मैच द फॉलोइंग आ रहा है अकाउंट्स के अंदर. सो रेशियोज के ऊपर और शेयर्स के ऊपर थोड़ा फोकस करना जरूरी है. एटलीस्ट आज से तो आज के पेपर में ये लर्निंग रही है. शेयर्स को थोड़ा अच्छे से कवर कर लो, रेशियोज को अच्छे से कर लो, प्रॉफिट रेशियो, अकाउंटिंग रेशियो अच्छे से कवर कर लो, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. कंप्यूटराइज्ड अकाउंटिंग को थोड़ा बहुत कवर कर लो. 2-3 क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, दोनों स्लॉट में आए हैं. अप्लाइड मैथमेटिक्स का पेपर जो था उसमें प्रोबेबिलिटी, मैक्सिमम, मिनिमा ऑलमोस्ट इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन था सारे टॉपिक्स का. थोड़ा सा ये सेक्शन मॉडरेट डिफिकल्ट लगा है लोगों को आज दोनों स्लॉट में थोड़ा सा. लेकिन कंपेयर टू यस्टरडे आई थिंक द स्टूडेंट्स फाउंड इट अ लिटिल बिट इजियर, बट थोड़ा मॉडरेट साइड में ही था. थोड़ा इशू है. मैथमेटिक्स हमेशा से लोगों को थोड़ा पेन पॉइंट रहा है, डर रहता है बच्चों का. एक्चुअली मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स फियर मैथमेटिक्स. सो ओवरऑल अगर देखा जाए तो कॉमर्स का पेपर आई थिंक टुडे इफ यू टॉक अबाउट एज कंपेयर टू यस्टरडे, I would rate it on slightly easy to moderate, not difficult, easy to moderate जो general feedback रहा है. स्पेशली जो इकोनॉमिक्स का जो पेपर रहा आज के डेट में, थोड़ा सा स्टूडेंट्स को सेकंड पार्ट में बिल्कुल टफ रहा है. बीएससी की बात कर रहे हैं, कुछ स्टूडेंट्स क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, बट अभी साइंसेस का कोई पेपर स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है, सो इट वुड बी डिफिकल्ट टू गिव एनी फीडबैक फॉर दैट. मतलब फीडबैक है ही नहीं उसका. Moving on to humanities before we take up the questions. Abhishek is here still, so Abhishek will be picking up some of the questions. Don't worry. So humanities की अगर बात करें तो पॉलिटिकल साइंस दोनों स्लॉट में इजी रहा है, अच्छा रहा है. इमरजेंसी के ऊपर क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, इंदिरा गांधी के री इलेक्शंस के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं. सो अगर आपने एनसीईआरटी बुक्स अच्छे से किया होता तो बिल्कुल ये आसानी से क्लियर हो जाता. तो इंदिरा गांधी का जो री इलेक्शन था, क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर, तो कुछ इवेंट्स दिए हुए थे, उनका क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर आपको बताना था, डेट्स को सही टाइमलाइंस पे फिक्स करके बताना था. मैच द फॉलोइंग में भी वही कहानी रही जो कल का था कि अगर एक भी क्रैक हो गया, एक ऑप्शन भी क्रैक हो गया तो बाकी 3 आसानी से क्रैक हो रहे थे. सो दैट वाज द स्टोरी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल साइंस. अगर हम ज्योग्राफी की बात करते हैं तो ज्योग्राफी पे मैप्स के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं, मिनरल्स के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं, एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं. सो मतलब ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड कम्युनिकेशन के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं. बट ज्योग्राफी का एक चीज और यूनिक रहा है कि अक्रॉस टॉपिक्स यूनिफॉर्मिटी उन्होंने मेंटेन की है. सो दे हैव ट्राइड टू मेंटेन अ बैलेंस अक्रॉस ईच ऑफ द एरियाज एक्चुअली. सो दैट्स व्हाट द फीडबैक ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स हैज बीन. सो ओवरऑल अगर देखा जाए तो मतलब पेपर उतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है अभी तक. दोनों चारों स्लॉट की बात करें, दोनों दिन बात करें तो मोर और लेस स्टूडेंट्स हैव बीन रियली कंफर्टेबल. जो एनसीईआरटी को अच्छे से कवर कर रहे हैं, जो रिसोर्सेज हैं उनके पास, उनको अच्छे से कवर कर रहे हैं, तो आई थिंक दे आर वेल प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन. स्पेशली जिनके पास अभी 2 दिन का समय है, नेक्स्ट पेपर 19 को होगा, फिर 20 को होगा और उसके बाद सीधा अगस्त में होगा. तो एटलीस्ट उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए मैं बोलूंगा कि मतलब क्विकली अच्छे से रिवाइज कर लो, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. थैंक्स यूसुफ. Yusuf is saying your economics videos were really helpful. Thank you so much. In fact, that's a feedback, Abhishek, we are getting from the audience itself. सो ओवरऑल अगर देखा जाए तो मतलब आज का पेपर की हम बात करें तो अगेन सिमिलर था, इजी था, कोई टेंशन नहीं था। अकाउंट्स का मैंने बता ही दिया, पॉल साइंस बता ही दिया, इकोनॉमिक्स यस, पॉलिटिकल साइंस में जैसा मैंने बताया मैप्स के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए हैं, मिनरल्स के ऊपर, रिसोर्सेज के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए। ओवरऑल सारे चैप्टर्स जो है वो अच्छे से कवर करने की जरूरत है। यूनिफॉर्म डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन रहा है, वह बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। So we move on. Let's take a couple of questions. I think Abhishek, I would want you to answer this because you have experiences firsthand. So the student is asking, see, Abhishek sir said that questions in economics were a little bit GK oriented. Could you please elaborate that? And can we expect budget के ऊपर questions क्या expect कर सकते हैं? So I'm putting that on screen for the benefit of everyone.
Yes, Vedan. There were 2-3 questions which was I found कि अभी recent news में चल रहे हैं, वो तभी वहां पर हैं। जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इकोनॉमिक्स के पैसेजेस, ठीक है, बहुत रिसेंट फिनोमिना था। लाइक भाविक टंडन सेड वी हैव टू emphasize on economic section given in our GK CUT book. Yes, go through with it. You can find some basic question from economics, है ना। करंट अफेयर जो कर रहे हो बस वो करते रहो, ठीक है। जो हमारे चल रहे हैं रिसेंटली, जो मेजर होते हैं वो सब तुम लोगों को पता लग जाएंगे, है ना। तो इतना कोई डीपली जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। जीके क्वेश्चन जो होंगे इकोनॉमिक्स में, दे वर वेरी बेसिक इन नेचर। यू कांट इवन थिंक कि मतलब इतना बेसिक क्वेश्चन मैं क्यों नहीं कर आया। लाइक सेम विद जीके में वो इतने बेसिक क्वेश्चन थे कि कोई उन पर ध्यान भी नहीं देता। यार इतने बेसिक क्वेश्चन नहीं आते, वो इतने बेसिक क्वेश्चन आए थे, है ना। कॉन्सेप्ट आए थे इकोनॉमिक्स के जो बहुत बेसिक करंट अफेयर्स को कवर करोगे उसमें आपके पूरे हो जाएंगे, है ना। सो सीयूटी का जो जीके का आपको बुक मिला है ना, उसमें इकोनॉमिक्स का सेक्शन कवर कर दो, उससे आपका पूरा हो जाएगा।
कल भी इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आए थे, करंट अफेयर्स के क्वेश्चन थे, आज भी रहे हैं। तो जीडी एग्जाम को लेकर के क्वेश्चन है, वी हैव अ स्टूडेंट, कैन यू प्लीज टेल मी जीडी एग्जाम हाउ मच क्वेश्चंस आर फ्रॉम जीके। सो इस पे मैं एक इनपुट दूंगा कि जो करंट अफेयर्स का है वो ऑलमोस्ट 80% है। 25 क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं जीके के सेक्शन में अभी तक। कल भी 25 क्वेश्चंस थे फर्स्ट स्लॉट में, आज के भी फर्स्ट स्लॉट में ऑलमोस्ट 25 क्वेश्चंस थे। 18 to 20 क्वेश्चंस तुम्हारे करंट अफेयर्स के ऊपर ही हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 15 to 18 आई वुड से, नॉट 18 to 20, 15 to 18 करंट अफेयर्स है। तो लास्ट 6 मंथ्स का अच्छे से कवर कर लो, इट विल बी रियली हेल्पफुल। मतलब बहुत इजी क्वेश्चंस दे रहे हैं, बुक्स एंड ऑथर्स भी आया है, पर्सनालिटीज के ऊपर भी आया है, आपका इसके ऊपर स्पोर्ट्स भी आ गया, अवार्ड्स भी आ गया। तो ऑलमोस्ट वेरिड टॉपिक्स हैं, सब कुछ जो हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं जीके सेक्शन में होना चाहिए वो सारी चीजें हैं। इकोनॉमिक्स के ऊपर है, गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज के ऊपर है क्वेश्चंस, मिनिस्टर्स के ऊपर कल क्वेश्चन आए थे, आज तो नहीं पूछा है बट कल पूछे थे। तो वो बिल्कुल ही जो एक्सपेक्टेड लाइन होता है करंट अफेयर्स का, जो टॉपिक्स कवर होते हैं वो सारी चीजें हैं। So I think that sums up tomorrow. Unfortunately, we do not have the feedback for psychology today, but overall अगर देखा जाए तो जो अभी कॉमर्स का और ह्यूमैनिटीज का ही पेपर चल रहा है, इंक्लूडिंग अप्लाइड मैथमेटिक्स और कंप्यूटर साइंस उन्होंने कवर किया है। सो ओवरऑल papers are not very difficult. You will feel comfortable writing the examination. My only suggestion to all the aspirants is go prepared for the unfortunate circumstance. You never know who will be the unlucky one जिसको technical issues face करना पड़ जाए. But the best part is you don't lose your patience over there. Don't panic. कल भी हमने ये बात बताई थी, बिल्कुल पैनिक नहीं करना है। हम कंप्लेन लगातार कर रहे हैं। आई एम श्योर एनटीए इसको देख रही होगी, अगर वो वीडियो वॉच कर रहे हैं तो दे विल बी डेफिनेटली वर्किंग फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स, बट पैनिक नहीं करना है। दे आर गिविंग यू दैट टाइम, बिल्कुल आराम से करो, कोई टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, और बिल्कुल पैनिक नहीं करना है, एक्स्ट्रा टाइम आपको मिलेगा। माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स के ऑलमोस्ट 20 क्वेश्चंस थे आज के सेकंड स्लॉट में। मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स के 60% क्वेश्चंस थे, विच मींस 30 क्वेश्चंस ऑलमोस्ट मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स से आए हैं। प्रोडक्शन एंड कॉस्ट का भी क्वेश्चन आया था, बट जो दो क्वेश्चंस थे, उससे ज्यादा नहीं थे। तो ठीक से एकदम बिल्कुल आराम से, डोंट पैनिक, cover your NCERT syllabus. If you're a CL student, cover the books which has been provided to you. Take the mocks. कल भी बच्चों का फीडबैक था कि एक दो क्वेश्चन ऑलमोस्ट हर जगह पे, आज भी अकाउंट्स में एक क्वेश्चन फीडबैक आया है कि वो बिल्कुल मॉक से मैच किया है। तो टेक द मॉक्स एंड फोकस ऑन योर कंटेंट। एक्चुअली डोंट पैनिक, बिल्कुल आराम से पढ़ो, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सो वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सो
I would like to
Can
add
you
one thing
read
in
the daily
GK
question on the
section.
trial
Like I
launch?
found 2-3 questions of static GK as well,
Hmm.
like historical GK, and I
वो
found some of the questions in our mock as well, static GK. I thought why the static GK is there, but it is there in the paper.
No, they have given a general knowledge and current affairs. So general knowledge
Yes,
actually from them means static GK. So that is where definitely it is
yes,
expected actually. Okay. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll definitely call you once again when you give your second slot next time, actually, hopefully in August. I believe you have the next slot. So we'll come back, we'll have you once again in the audience. And I'm sure students got benefited today as well. So we'll on every exam day, we'll be live here at 8 p.m. We'll bring you the feedback we receive from the students so that you understand what happened today and what you can expect in the paper. So that's me, Amiterndra Kumar from Career Launcher, and my colleague Abhishek Bhatia, who took the paper today, first-hand experience writing the examinations, sharing his experience with you all. From entire Career Launcher family, we wish you all the best who are appearing for the examination in the coming weeks and in the second phase. We'll keep coming back every time the examination is held. So next time we meet on 19th of July at 8 p.m. on this platform itself. Don't forget to subscribe and do press the bell icon so that you get notified about the analysis session on 19th of July. Thank you so much. Best wishes to each one of you.